And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Up Seamus's Nose Cam. Sorry, but it's easier for me to put the cam down here than up on the computer. Up on the monitor. I'm excited! My wife agreed to go to a Japanese restaurant. And she won't eat sushi or sashimi. I'm not too keen on the sashimi, but I love sushi. Good sushi. Not that nasty stuff you buy at the market. I'm going to get some uni. The place, if we go there, because I'm going to treat her next month for a number of reasons. I'm treating her next month. And I don't have the menu up in front of me because I had to close all my windows out. So, interesting thing, the monitor is a forest of bamboo. And I'm going to take my wife to a Japanese restaurant. When I was a boy in Okinawa, I lived in Makinoro Heights, and if you went west, you had to go down a hill, and there was a little village down there. It's not there anymore, which is really sad because, that was an Okinawan village where Okinawans lived, and the Americans pushed them out. But anyway, in order to get to that village, I had to walk through a forest of bamboo. I wouldn't say I walked through it. Sometimes I walked through it. Sometimes I would go under bamboo and over bamboo and around bamboo. I don't know about Japan, mainland Japan. I've been there, but I don't remember it. And, I was told things about Japan when I was a little boy. And with all honesty, I don't know how much of it was true. I just don't know. I was told that, my parents told me, well, we're not going to buy you anything made in Japan because it's cheap. It's going to break. Well, I don't know if that's really true or not. Because I have a feeling most of my toys were probably made in Japan. But anyway, for anyone who watches this, I don't really have many viewers, so, Uni is, I don't know if in mainland Japan they call it uni or not. It's sea urchin. Now, when I was a little boy at my nursery school, the mama-sans from the village my nursery school was kind of on a bay, on a cove, and I would watch the mama-sans come down. I think they may have done it twice a day at low tide, and they would collect sea urchins. Now, I found out that they collected sea urchins for two reasons. One, for food. Two, to protect the coral reefs, which are like 90% plus of the coral around Okinawa is sadly gone. Just gone. But, and then I saw a meme the other day, and I'm like, far out. My wife put it up, and it was about Sunday drives. And I remember as a little boy, we used to go on Sunday drives. We'd go to chapel, and then we'd go on a Sunday drive. I never considered my father a very religious person, but we went to chapel. I still remember our chaplain's name. He actually retired to San Antonio, and he's buried at Fort Sam Houston. I went to his service. One of the very few funerals that I've been to. But anyway, I was looking at the menu. Oh my goodness, this particular restaurant, and they're not overpriced either, which is nice. Since I want to treat my wife, by treating her, I I don't want us to have to count our pennies too much if we can avoid it. But let me get to another point since I'm 5 minutes into this. I had an MRI done today. They did not have to redo any of it. The nice thing about modern medicine, I can't really bend my head down too far. One nice thing about, it's not really modern medicine, it's modern technology. They don't have to wait for hours or days to develop x-rays and all that, and then days to actually mail it or to send it by courier. So my surgeon will have it by the time he gets to work tomorrow. He already has my x-rays. I have a feeling if there was a problem with my x-rays, if there was a serious problem, I would have received a phone call. And I have not received a phone call, so I take it that either my neck is okay or it's not something that needs to be worried about. My back, I am worried about. I do have curvature of the spine. I am in constant pain, although the pain I'm in, I'm so used to being in pain that, I would, like right now, I'd give it a 5, maybe a 6 at the absolute most. But before I started having to deal with all this would have been an 8 or a 9. But I'm so used to it that it's like, whatever. But I am very worried about the MRI results. I fell, was it yesterday, hon? When I fell right there in the doorway? Yeah, it was yesterday, so I'm not going to say I'm concerned, because that would be an understatement. I am worried, because I don't want to have to go through another surgery. But anyway, so back to the menu. The first menu I found, it was the to-go menu, and I'm like, I don't want to go. I want it freshly prepared. I want to eat it freshly prepared. And it feels like it's winter time, almost like it's winter time. If you knew our winters, that's not winter time out there, but we're like, it's supposed to be springtime. And it's cold enough we have to wear a jacket and turn the heat on. Geez, it felt like spring the other day, and now for the last several days it's felt like winter. But anyway, they have some of my favorite sushi there. Sweet marinated shrimp. I have had eel sushi, but I don't know if I'm going to try any more of that. I remember eels on Okinawa. Electric eels, actually. You could go, there is I don't remember what the street's called, but at night, actually probably during the day, it's a hustling, bustling kind of area. And they had eels in tanks that you could buy. Electric eels in tanks that you could buy. I was always scared to death of them. I thought if I got too close, all I had to do, I was a little boy, so if I got just a little too close, I'd be electrocuted and would die. Now, I always wanted my parents to buy me an electric eel. They never would. I guess a lot of little boys want something like that. I would have probably wound up letting them go in the ocean, or playing with them in the yard, and you don't want to play with an eel in the yard because they belong in the water. But yeah, very fond memories of Okinawa. Very fond memories. I find it interesting that when an Okinawan speaks Okinawan or Ryukyu, and a Japanese person speaks Japanese, to most Americans it sounds like the same language, but they cannot understand each other. I find that very interesting. I don't know the hows and the whys of that, but I don't know if maybe some of the words have different meaning, or if they actually pronounce things differently, and to an American ear we just don't notice that difference. I don't know. But they have eel sushi. They have, and I can't remember what it's called, tofu skin sushi. They have shrimp sushi. They have sweet shrimp sushi, which I love. They have uni sushi, which I don't know if I love or not. I mean, it's like $2 or $3 for one, so it doesn't hurt to have one. And depending on the server, if the server is actually from Japan or maybe even Okinawa, they're my favorite Japanese restaurant in San Antonio. One of the ladies that worked there was from Okinawa, which was really cool. But I'm so glad she agreed to go. I'm not going to have a meal of sushi. And I'm not going to eat sashimi. I guess sushi and sashimi, because sushi is the rice, and then the sashimi would be like the fish or the meat alone, but then when you put the sashimi on the rice, it's sushi, Anyway. But I mean, the rice is the flavored rice is the sushi. Uni, and some shrimp, sushi. Good. Eel, because I've had eel sushi, but it's been a long time, and I don't remember if I liked it or not. I just don't remember. It was kind of greasy looking, so I shouldn't be turning my head like that. And another third subject, my German language program that I was supposed to start months and months ago, I was going to go over and work on the dining table, but that just never happened. So I moved everything over here to my desk, and I organized my German language program. I have the CDs, the book, the notebook, which is kind of cool that it came with a notebook. I've said this before. It's kind of cool that it came with a notebook, but if they would not include that notebook, it might be cheaper, more affordable, more people would buy it, because I have a miniature legal pad that I'm going to use for notes. The thing is, now I can't remember the name of that website. I don't know. Anyway, I want to restart it. I was on there yesterday, looking at it, trying to figure out if there's a way I can restart Duolingo. Duolingo. I'm trying to figure out. I'm probably going to have to contact them and say, look, it's been months since I've done this. I was doing really well. Eventually I started having problems, but so I would like to restart it, because I don't remember what I was doing. I heard a story, and then actually I was watching a video. It was SJW's Get Owned video, and there was a professor talking about, I think, the same thing, but, you know, she was being interrupted by SJWs. I heard a story years ago about a person who was put under. He was having brain surgery. I don't know if it was an experiment or if this person was actually having brain surgery. And the surgeon would touch different parts of the person's brain. Preferably not with a finger, preferably with a probe or something. And the person would say stuff. And then when the person came out from under anesthesia, he was asked, well, do you remember this? Do you remember that? Do you remember, because he was conscious, or semi-conscious, I guess, during surgery. And he said, I don't remember during surgery, but wow, I haven't thought about that in 20 years. And so, you know, it's like the brain stores things. So, Spanish, German, Serbo-Croatian, either Japanese and or Ryukyu, probably Japanese, English, those are the languages I've had in my life that I have spoken to one degree or another, or understood to one degree or another, at one point or another. I don't speak anything but English today. And even I don't speak that very well, to be honest with you. And my writing is even worse. But two things that I do want to get, not until I start with this German program over here. A book on German culture, which I found, and a book on German history, which I may have found a good one, but I don't know, because I'm tired. You know, everything is like, well, what did your family do during the war? Well, you know, Germany is more than just World War II. Germany goes back quite a ways, or what we would call Germany today, goes back, you know, as far back as everybody else. And, you know, my people, the Celti or Celtic people, once lived on the southern, or would it be the western or southern side of the Rhine. So where I lived in Germany was once a Celtic area. And anyway, I was watching this one video. I like urban exploring, urbex, urban exploration, urban exploring, urbex. And I haven't done any of it up here. Well, actually I have, but I won't get into that because I don't want to get into trouble. But I did do it in Texas. It was fun. And so I watched different urbex videos on YouTube, and one of the guys, one of the channels, there's several channels like this, he explores World War II sites. Oh, he's a German guy in Germany, and he explores World War II sites. Well, this one video was really far out. I think I mentioned this already. He had bags and bags of stuff that his friends brought to him, helmets and stuff. And, you know, my BFF in Germany, his daddy had been a German soldier in the war. I guess you could say my daddy's BFFs were Japanese sailors in the war. And I mean, I say my dad's BFFs because he kept in touch with them until he died. You know, I'm sure he didn't keep in touch with them during the war. That would have been a no-no, to say the least. Then he would have been investigated, and the whole family would have been investigated. And I've heard stories from my mother's side of the family about what happened during the war because of something. And And I've heard other stories about when my parents got married, about what happened. Although I don't know if that's true because of who told me. But maybe it was that person exaggerated what really happened. If I don't know. But so I haven't canceled my trip to North Carolina, but it's definitely not on the front burner right now. It's on the back burner. The front burner is my health, possible surgery. Not looking forward to it because, I had the neck surgery, and that's serious surgery, mind you. But if he operates on my lower back, that's going to be far more serious, far more serious. And not looking forward to it. Not looking forward to it. Just not. It scares the bedevils out of me too. But it's still on the burner. It's still something I plan to do this year. If I do have the surgery, it probably will be within the next few months. So after recovery, I would go down there and take care of that. And it would be nice to see where my family's from. If nothing else, you know what? If for no other reason, I'd like to take the bus. I can't take the bus to that town because the bus doesn't go there. It used to. My granddaddy, he had come home from work. I guess at the time he was working on the dredge boats in Ohio, and he took the bus back home. Well, they lost his luggage. A year later, from Washington, North Carolina, they ring him and say, "Hey, we have your luggage." And I don't know what he said or what he thought, but I'm like, my goodness, a year later. Well, they would have done that back then. Nowadays, somebody's going to take it, The one thing I would not look forward to on the trip is stopping in New York City. Actually, I would look forward to stopping in New York City because I've never been there. I like going places. I haven't been able to go places since I was a little boy. We went to Taiwan. We went to Japan. We went to Hawaii. On Okinawa, we went all over that island. We didn't do a whole lot of time up north because of the Marines. No disrespect to Marines, but there is a reason we didn't go up there, and it was because of the Marines. So we didn't spend a whole lot of time up there. Cannot wait to get myself some Uni Sushi. That's some shrimp sushi. But like I told my wife, it's going to be a treat because this month is our anniversary of meeting, but we always go out to eat the month after. So we have a tradition going here, right? And let me show you. I have my two German dictionaries. That one and that one sitting right here. I got my little boom box, as they used to call them. They used to call them ghetto blasters when I was young. I have that sitting right there, and my German language CDs under it, and my book. The book number 1, numero uno. Eins. I don't know how you say number or numero in German yet, but eins. See, I don't even remember my numbers correctly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. That's not correct, but that's close. As close as I can get anyway. But I have the headphones right here. the boom box, the books and CDs, the 2 dictionaries, and online in case I need to look something up. And hopefully, well, actually, there is something I'll have to, because I'm going to use this program, and I'm going to use the Duolingo program at the same time. Hopefully, that will reinforce things. You know, like I'll get to do it certain things twice, but each time I do it, it'll be in a different way. So it'll help reinforce things, and plus each program is going to do things different. They're going to do different things, so I will really get, hopefully, really get a good introduction to this, and then what I will do is I will start watching German language videos on the YouTube. That will be my practice for listening, for understanding what they're saying, for what people are saying in Deutsch, or Deutsch, Deutschland, Germany, Deutsch, German. I do remember that much. See, I do have some German that I still remember. I'm surprised that I remember it. You know, occasionally something Spanish will pop into my mind. Sometimes if I look at something, I can figure it out. Sometimes it takes me a while, but I can figure it out if it's in Spanish. All the 44 plus years I lived in Texas, I refused to speak Spanish because my Spanish is from Cadiz, España, where I'm from. So that's, the dialect and the slang, the idioms that I heard, that my parents spoke, are from there. My mother told me that when she moved to Spain, she had to relearn Spanish. She took Spanish in college. She said she had to relearn it, completely relearn it. She said what she learned in college didn't mean a single thing. She had to completely relearn Spanish because it was completely different. Continental Spanish and what I call American Spanish are not exactly the same. Like my first word, haka or aka, it's pronounced haka, even though it's spelled with an H. Pony, or small horse, or little horse. And there was a guy in my hometown. He had a haka. Well, actually, it wasn't a haka. It was a full-grown horse, but it wasn't living. He stuffed it and put it on, nailed it onto a cart with wheels, and you could sit on it and get your picture taken. You had to pay, but So I have slides of that, and I may have pictures, I don't know. So, well, wherever we wind up going next month, and my wife has been looking at a couple of different menus, and it's the food choices, or the menu choices, and the price of these 2 particular non-Japanese restaurants. Neither one of us are into this nouveau cuisine, so I guess you could say it doesn't really appeal to us. And these 2 restaurants, well, one of them is more nouveau, the other one is more Italian, but neither one of them are exactly cheap. But wherever she wants to go is where we're going to go. Because I want to take her to a nice place. Not some place where you pay $5 or $6 for a hamburger. I'm talking good food. And hopefully good quantity of food. Not just quality, but quantity. You see these fancy restaurants and you don't even get this much food. A piece of bread I was eating. You don't even get that much food and you pay $150. I'm like, no, thank you. One of my favorite movies, The Cook, the Thief, her wife and his lover. It's in a restaurant that's kind of like that kind of thing, you know. I guess you could say that movie is also an artsy movie, and I usually don't get into artsy stuff. But, you know, I like that movie. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I don't think my wife would care for it, though. But, oh, you know what? Once I learn German, I can watch Amy and Jaguar in German, because I have the DVDs, or the DVD, and it's a German movie. It's a German language. I love the actress that plays Amy. She is a fantastic actress. I just wish she wouldn't play in mostly war movies. Darn it. But she was in Downfall and in Amy and Jaguar, and I'm like, come on. I think in Downfall she played Eva Braun. I'm like, come on, you know, Germany's more than just that. But so I got my German stuff out, you know, ready. Finally ready. Take my wife out for our anniversary dinner next month, and you know, this is all good because it keeps my mind off of my medical problems. And boy, do I have health problems. I'll tell you what, I might not be able to get around too well, but if somebody ever attacked me, I have this. This is a good freaking self-defense weapon. Put that back right there, because I have to use it in the house now. That's how bad things have gotten. I'm hoping that if I have this surgery, it will help correct some things, and because after the first surgery, I stopped having tremors. That doctor, my surgeon in Lebanon, New Hampshire, fantastic. Utterly fantastic. I cannot give him a 5-star rating. If it was 0 to 5 stars, I'd say 10. Okay? I would have to increase it to 10, because that's how good he is. Bedside manner, but as a surgeon, numero uno. His staff, numero uno. Best there is. Best there are, because it's a staff. Multiple people. But if I say the staff as a single entity, that would be is, and then a group of people, I guess, would be are. I don't know. Anyway, my English is horrible. I should probably concentrate on my English instead of German, right? But anyway, so this video is over 30 minutes long. You know what we ate tonight? The same thing we ate last night, cabbage soup. Yep, cabbage soup. Now, down south, down south, what we probably would have done would have been to add some, what we cooked in the soup we got free, which is why we had cabbage soup. But down south, we'd probably add some greens to that. Well, I tell you what, my mom, she could cook up some mess of greens. I tell you what. My wife likes greens too, but she doesn't eat the greens with hot pepper vinegar. I do. That's why I learned to eat them. Well, she just says she eats them with vinegar. I grew up eating them with hot pepper vinegar, and so I have my mom's cruet somewhere. I don't know where, but. Well, you know, for my wife, I wouldn't put the chilies in it. But that when I was growing up, that cruet always had chilies in it. I don't know what kind of chilies. They were little small red chilies, narrow, about that long, about maybe that wide, and you just put those in there and pour the vinegar. Let the vinegar sit for a few days or weeks. and you're fine. All you have to do is just keep adding vinegar to it. But I'm not sure I would want to use the good vinegar we have. Well, actually, it might. I don't know. I wouldn't use the good vinegar. But yeah, when we got home, the cats were like, "Hey, our parents are home," and Boo just cut the TV off. Oh, you know what I'm thinking? I saw something earlier online. Somebody had a pet stroller. We used to have a pet stroller, and I used to take Lucky and John out for walks in the pet stroller, and Lucky and John loved it. Although John could figure out how to get out of it. That's why I stopped taking him in it. And Lucky got old; he couldn't see anymore. So, the last time I took him for a walk around the block, it's like he didn't care. John, I mean Lucky, and so I miss my boy. But I'm thinking, get another pet stroller eventually. They're not cheap. Actually, they're not that expensive. The one we got was not that expensive, and it lasted for years. Because John Boy has figured out how to get out of every single harness we've gotten him. When he was younger and he didn't know any better, I could take him on walks with a leash. Of course, from time to time he would decide just to lay down. And once he decided to lay down, there was, I'd have to pull him. Eventually he'd get up and start walking again. Eventually he learned to walk on a leash. He knew that if I was walking, that meant he had to walk. And he has these long legs. Surprised he hasn't come running in here after I've said his name so many times. Oh, he's sleeping on the back of the couch. But we can get another pet stroller, and I don't think John and Boo would be good together in the stroller. Because they kind of don't get along. Maggie, nobody would go in the stroller with her. Nobody, because she's a Miss Priss. What? Oh yeah, she might let socks in there. Now taking Boo and Misty together, because they love each other, or John and Misty, but not John and Boo. Fascinated by what he saw? Yeah. So we used to take, my late wife and I, we used to take Lucky and John on Main Street in Keene, and we'd walk around Main Street. And the nice thing about the pet stroller, I can lean against it a little bit. I mean, it has wheels, so but it helps my balance so I don't fall. That way I don't have to use this, which I realized today I have to get a new piece of a new rubber thing for it. Actually, I may have one. It'd be nice if I can find the one that I have, because I don't want to have to spend money on something I don't need to spend money on. But yeah, because when I was coming out of the MRI today, my cane was slipping under me, and I'm like, oh gosh, that's not good. He liked my haircut, nice and short. Boy, I like this. Usually the gay guy at the barber, well, it's not a barber, it's like a beauty salon. But I mean, geez, try to find a regular barbershop nowadays. I know the same barber for 11 years in Texas. Didn't even have to say anything. Just got up in the chair, cut my hair. There from the time I was, 8 years old till I was 18. Pretty darn good. But, yeah, I think when I first started going there, I had to sit in a booster seat. By the time I left, I definitely didn't have to sit in a booster seat. I remember when A-Leaf had dirt roads, farms. We had a cotton gin. Don't have none of that no more. Big crime area now too. Murders are common now. I live there, running around the middle of the night. That's what we used to do. You go camping put a tent up in your yard, and once you think your parents are asleep, you just take off and start running around town. Well, we used to run out by the farms. We didn't really hang out in in the suburban area of Alief. We hung out. We would go where the farms were, the more rural part, which was like our second house in Alief was behind us. That's where the rural part of Alief started. That's where there were dirt roads. And actually, you go to Old Alief, back then, there were dirt roads in Old Alief. A lot of people, they only knew Alief as the suburban area. But, those of us that actually lived there, we knew the rural part, the rural areas. I was looking at the Google Maps the other day. Actually, it wasn't Google, it was something else. Thankfully, it was something else. And my elementary school, it used to be a big field. Now it's surrounded by houses. The bayou that used to go through there, parts of it are covered now. It's like a ditch now. It used to be a bayou. We used to go hunting crawdads down there. We call them crawdads. Different areas call them different things. Crawdads, crawfish, crayfish. We call them crawdads. Never caught enough to go cook them. My mother wouldn't cook them anyways because that came from the bayou. I remember, here's some southern slang for you. I don't remember what happened, but I come running up to the house. And I say, Mama, something done happened down yonder. She said, where? I said, down yonder. Where? Down yonder. Where's down yonder? Down yonder. And then I realized, yonder could be anywhere. Yonder is somewhere else, right? It was down by the bayou, I think. And I don't know what happened after that. I just remember that. But nothing serious ever happened in Alief. Geez, kids used to climb on the school buildings. Sheriff's department drive right by. They'd see them there. They'd just keep going. They weren't doing nothing, to do no damage or nothing. But boy, try that today. They'd probably get a SWAT team out after you. They just go up at the elementary school next to our first house. My friends, I never did it. They invited me, but I never did it. I was too scared to do it. They would find a door that they could squeeze through, and they would get on the top of the roof and just hang out there. They weren't drinking or smoking or nothing. They're just hanging out there or playing or whatever. And nobody cared. Nobody ever called nobody on them. Who cared? I mean, they weren't doing no damage. I miss days like that. Nowadays, geez, you look at somebody the wrong way. I'm calling the cops on you. Jeez, all sorts of nonsensical laws and stuff. Oh, great news! The president of the NRA stepped down. Yeah. Now, some people might say, but you're pro-2A. Don't you support the NRA? That kind of rhymes. I'm like, hell no. The NRA has supported every effing gun control measure that's come around, at least since the 80s. People say, people like Ronald Reagan. Well, Ronald Reagan was probably the worst when it comes to the Second Amendment. He put some big gun control measures in. And now both the Republicans and Democrats, it's really one political party, it's not two, it's one, are both pushing for red flag laws, bump stock. Well, we have a bump stock ban, but it's being challenged. Not by the NRA. The NRA supports the bump stock ban. Now, from what I've never used a bump stock, I don't know anything about them. I've never seen one personally. I mean, I've seen videos and pictures, that's it. From what I hear, they're bad for your gun. I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, I have to take people's word for it that know more than I do. So that doesn't mean anything. It's the principle of the matter. There's a page, a group, or whatever, organization called, I think it's called Always Carry. I rarely carry. I just don't see the point. I mean, I know of some people that do it because they're freaking paranoid, but because I live in this area, I mean, if I were to open carry, if I concealed carry, nobody would know. But if I open carried and I did it here in town, nobody would care. Nobody would say anything. Now, if I did it in the next town over, because of a certain group of people, let's just say they're sickos, and they're insane, and they're a part of a cult. If they saw me with a gun, or if they thought I had a gun, they would go run into the police. Oh, he pulled a gun on us, or he threatened us with a gun, or he said he was going to shoot us or something. So, it's best that I don't carry in that town, just for my well-being and my wife's well-being, because some of those people do carry, and they're dangerous. They're very, very dangerous. They say, oh, well, Seamus made some threats. I'm like, yeah, look, I said, you attacked me, I'm going to defend myself. You attack my wife, I'm going to defend my wife. But I don't go around beating my wife. I don't go around beating up other people. But you guys do! Shouldn't turn my head like that. So I know your violence. I know their violence. I know that they're violent people. They usually do it behind closed doors and usually to each other. Because they know if they do it to an outsider, like me or my wife, we will go to the police. We will say something. So they're cowards. That's what they are. They're cowards. Dr. Jordan Peterson, he had a video, or he has a video about pedophiles, and he says they're cowards. They're a bunch of cowards. An interesting point. BAM, B-A-M-N, Falarka, I believe, is the leader. She is being defended by an attorney who is either a member of or a supporter of NAMBLA, North American Man-Boy Love Association. And I believe her attorney's husband is a member or supporter as well. There are a lot of people on the far left who support that kind of sickness. And having been a victim when I was a child, yeah, I have a real serious problem with it. You do that to, all my kids or stepkids are grown, but you do that to one of my grandkids, we're going to have a problem. We're going to have a serious problem. And yeah, I would be willing to go to prison for it. To defend my wife, I'd be willing to go to prison for it. To defend my grandkids, I'd be willing to go to prison for it. So, yeah. So, that group of people that I'm talking about, their dear leader is a pedophile. I mean, he was sleeping with a 14-year-old. That's a child. That is a child. But that's, so the reason one reason I don't open carry or conceal carry or carry period in the next town over is because one of them would probably try to start trouble, and they would. They know how to start trouble, believe you me. But anyway, enough about them. They're losers. One of the grandkids, next time I see the grandkid, I want to wear my wolf ears. I want to wear my wolf ears and my foxtail. He's seen me with a foxtail, right? But I came up with a great story for them. And this is stolen from the Wolf Tones. Wolf Tones is an Irish rebel band. So I stole this from them. I'm going to tell them this. And I do have other grandkids the same age, but we don't live close to them, so I can't do this with them, although I would want to. Well, once they kind of got used to me, I would. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, because she's old enough for that now, isn't she? Yeah. This is the story. I'm not going to say my grandkid's name, okay? But I'm going to call him Chapstick, okay? Just so I have a name to use, Chapstick. But you don't like Chapstick? Oh, I thought, oh, never mind.
This lady is in one of those chairs.
Uh-huh.
She got lost going home from her friends and she's 4 miles away.
Oh, jeez.
I didn't know they had a battery that lasted that long.
So I'm going to tell him that. I'm going to say, Chapstick, have you heard of mermaids? And he's probably going to say, yeah. And I said, you want me to tell you a story about when I saw some mermaids once? You know, he'll probably look at me like, you know, the way little kids look at you, and say, well, I used to have a ship called the SS Bridget, and I was sailing my ship over by Ireland, and it's a schooner. My ship was a schooner, which is a type of ship. And I'll teach them, while I tell the story, I also want to teach them some things. And I want to say, well, we were fishing. We threw our nets out. We were catching fish, and then one day we were sailing, and it was time to throw our nets over the side of the ship to catch some fish, and we lowered our anchor, and it went down to the bottom of the sea, and it went to the bottom of the sea, and all of a sudden the ocean started turning and churning, and the waves started crashing, and then we saw this big fishy tail come up out of the sea, and we're like, oh my goodness, what is that? And this merman, he came up from the bottom of the sea and said, excuse me, sir, but you lowered your ankle and it crashed on my house, and now my wife and children can't come out to play. Please raise your anchor. And it's like, wow, a merman. So we raised our anchor, and the ocean subsided, the waves subsided, the ocean settled down, and all of a sudden, the merman's wife, the mermaid, came up, and all the little mermaid children came up, and we saw them, and they waved at us and said thank you, and we sailed away. I think little kids like stories like that. I know I did. So, but yes, my grandson's name is not Chapstick, but I'm not going to say what his name is. Anyway, this is an hour-long video, so I will end it here. Uni Sushi.